In this same vein, a fun fact I learned, I want to say maybe 2-3 years ago, Dennis, when we first started talking about this this fringe stuff, right? A fun fact is that in Revelation 21, it talks about the New Jerusalem coming down from heaven, God's house, his abode, his residence, okay? And it says that it's a 1,400 mile wide and mile high cube or possibly pyramid, because both a pyramid and a cube both have the same base, width, and height. Is it crazy to take that literally and think that God's house is literally going to descend onto the new heaven and reside, onto the new earth yeah. and reside over Jerusalem?
As I read it, there's no other way to take it except literal.
Nice.
All right, Mondo.
I'll clarify, because we make an assumption. Like, again, I'm into astronomy. I astrophotographer. I love stuff. But, the space station orbits around 250 miles up. That's it. 250. So you think about this new dwelling being 1,400 miles up. That's going to be sticking off out of the atmosphere. But what's the assumption? The assumption is that the earth is the same. Well, he just said he's creating, renovating the earth, creating a new heavens, new earth in chapter 21. So whatever that new earth looks like is going to take into consideration this gigantic dwelling coming down. But see, again, what the problem I have is, when it's giving you Roman miles, right? Stadia. At least that's the way it's using it. Well, how do you spiritualize that? It's very straightforward. Right. It's literal.
It says he had a ruler.
Right. He had a ruler, exactly. And there's so many. So
there's nothing spiritual about math. Okay.
Yep. That's true. It's very literal. It's straightforward. How I understand it's going to look in the new creation, I have no idea. But do I believe it's literal? Absolutely.
Dude, that's awesome.
I'm so happy you're going to say that. I was worried you're not going to say it was not literal, but so I'm really happy now.
Dennis, just in case people don't know what we're talking about, and I've told a lot of Christians, hey, God's coming back with a 1,400 mile wide cube or pyramid, and they're like, you're crazy. What the heck are you reading these days? And I'm like, check out the Bible. Dennis,
I said that at lunch at my family's house once with a bunch of people.
They went crazy, right? Dude, it's literally how the book ends. It talks about this huge thing that comes down. Right. And again, to use modern language, you could say spaceship, you could say craft, you could say whatever. It literally calls it in, Dennis, if you want to pull up Revelation 21, and we'll read 1-4, it literally calls it God's residence, the residence of God. And so when Jesus says, I go to prepare a place for you, in my Father's house are many mansions or rooms or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, he's literally talking about this thing that's going to come down. And it says the nations come in and Christ is the center and everybody goes and worships him. And there's trees of life on both sides of the river. The end of the book sounds like a Marvel movie version of the beginning of the book, which is Adam and Eve in a garden, tree of life, Christ there with them, river flowing through. You know what I'm saying? So it's like God, through the work of Jesus, he reinstitutes the Adamic order and creation, but with no devil, because now he's in the lake of fire for eternity, never to be released again. And it will be paradise eternally. And a lot of Christians also believe that we are going to spend eternity in heaven, right? Where God is now.
Right.
But the end of the book is not us in heaven, but God here on earth with us, which is how humans were created to begin with. They weren't created in heaven. God didn't intend humanity to be in heaven with him.
Agreed.
God intended for people to be corporeal here on earth in the third dimension, and for him to be in their midst and walk with Adam and Eve in the garden in the cool of the day, right? And that's how the book ends. It ends with him coming down here and hanging out with us for eternity. Dennis, did you pull up the verse? So 1-4, and then 15-16.
Okay. Do you see 1-4?
Yeah, but you read it.
Oh. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first heaven and earth had ceased ceased to exist, and the sea existed no more. And I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, made ready like a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, "Look, the residence of God is among human beings. He will live among them, and they will be his people, and God himself will be with them. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death will not exist anymore, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the former things have ceased to exist."
Okay, and now 15 and 16.
So good.
It's so good.
Revelations 15?
No, I'm sorry.
Or 21, 15, and 16?
Yes, verses 15 and 16.
Sorry, guys. Okay.
Man, when you take this stuff literally, oh my God, it's so much funner.
The angel who spoke to me had a golden measuring rod with which to measure the city and its foundation, stones, and wall, which is interesting to me, stones and wall. Now the city is laid out as a square, its length and width the same. He measured the city with a measuring rod, a ruler, at 1,400 miles. Its length and width and height are equal.
Yeah. So literally, that's how our book ends. There's a gold cube or a gold pyramid that descends from the sky. It's God's house. And that's where we dwell with him forever. It's amazing. It literally, Mondo, like you said, it sounds more like a Marvel movie than it does this like amorphous fairy tale kind of made up story. Because that's what we get accused of. We're always accused of, oh, this was just a book that was written and people made stuff up, right? Except for 80% of the prophecies have come true verbatim. Yep. And there's 20% more, of which the cube descending is one, okay? Which we're all waiting for it to come true. And just based on the numbers, it seems pretty likely that it will, so these kinds of conversations should have pretty profound implications on people's lives. And I think talking about the prophetic and how accurate it's been should really help people anticipate what's coming and want to be on the right side of this thing, because you're going to want to be in the cube. Okay. Let me just say. Yeah.